And just like every other rendition of Batman, it looks like Robert Pattinson has finally gotten his sweet ride to go along with his new Batsuit. And we're going to talk about all of that right now. Hello everybody and welcome back to another movie news video. My name is Joker and today we're discussing the images that Matt Reeves just officially put out on his Twitter page showing us the rendition of the new Batmobile. And once again, we all knew this was coming since the movie's in production now. It's only a matter of time before they show off the cast, the rest of the costumes, and finally now we have the Batmobile. We saw some early screen tests of the Batsuit before earlier this year, and then we got to see a few more test shots with him on the Batbike, and now we've got the official look at the new Batmobile. And this is actually a really big deal for a lot of people, myself included, because the Batmobile is just as much a character in the show, in the series, in the world of Batman, as much as Bruce Wayne himself. You can't just have any old car be the Batmobile. This is something that has to look perfect to the world and to the character that you're creating, and it has to be its own character. Because no matter what version of Batman you have on screen in video games and comics, you name it, the Batmobile is there and it has a very strong presence. So today we have with us the three images that Matt Reeves has posted on his Twitter showing off the Batmobile from a bunch of different angles, and we're going to jump right into this, break it down, see what we can get out of this. So here's this first image. This is the best shot you can get. You've got him with the car, the brand new look, great lighting. This definitely feels like Gotham City. You've got that dark orange lighting in the corners of the screen there. I'm not really sure if this is actual scene from the movie or if these are just test photos that they were doing. But either way, it looks fantastic. This definitely says Batmobile, and it's really interesting. Let's take a look at this and break down this design of the car. So pretty much when you think about it, since 1989, the Batmobile design has been a very long car. I don't know what the whole concept behind that was, but when Tim Burton did the first Batman with Michael Keaton in 1989, the Batmobile design was just decided to have this ridiculously long car, and that kind of stuck throughout the rest of the movies from Batman Returns all the way through Batman and Robin, which was done by Joel Schumacher. Either way they went, the Batmobile just had this really long, gargantuous design. It was really awkward to take around corners, but, you know, it was cool because it was the Batmobile. And then when Christopher Nolan came in with the Dark Knight trilogy, we got a really new way of looking at the Batmobile with the tumbler, which is probably my personal favorite model as it is, just because it was completely different. It was practically a tank. It's also my favorite Batmobile to use in the Arkham Knight game because it's fantastic. And even then with the Arkham Knight game, we got another more compact, almost tank-like version of the Batmobile. Seeing this gives me a few ideas, because one, it doesn't necessarily look very long. It still has the bat-like features and gives it that look of the Batmobile, but at first glance, it's easy to see that this is taking some inspiration from the original Batmobile from Adam West's Batman back in 1966. And if we go ahead and look at the back of the car, very similar to the 1966 Batmobile. You've got the glaring taillights, you've got the giant engine sitting there, and you've got the exhaust ports sticking up out of the back of the car. Very much so the Batmobile from the older 66 series. Not necessarily meant it's supposed to be the same, but that's just kind of what I feel like they're going for. I also really like this image because you've got, I don't know if it's Robert Pattinson or if it's his stunt double, but standing in the Batsuit right in front of the car, and you got the headlights flashing on it. That's just a really cool shot. And again, even from the side angles, you can also see it does have that kind of the sloped over look of the Batmobile that the Batmobile had in the animated series, giving you that whole flashy, kind of almost like the waving of his cape vibe when he was driving down the street. And I really like this picture as well because, again, if we look at the back of the Batsuit you have here when he's standing on the side of the car, my worries have been put to rest about the cowl, because in all those other pictures it looked really weird, but from here you can see the ears are more of a wider range from the sides, because from the front profile the bat ears kind of just looked like really thin, like sticks coming out of the back of it. That's been put to rest now, but we're focusing on the car, not so much as the Batsuit itself. But this is, you can clearly see this has been taking some inspiration from the original 66 Batmobile to go back to what we've known before, instead of going with the whole long version of a car or just creating an overall tank that we saw in the Dark Knight trilogy and again in the Arkham Knight games. The one thing that I also want to take away from this is this kind of is reminiscent to the Batmobile that we got in the end of the Gotham TV series. Sure, it was pretty much just like a Mustang, but the thing about it is that it also had that matte black finish on it, and this is kind of the same thing going on here. I'm not really sure what kind of body this car is modeled after. At first glance, my first thought was the Chevy Impala. No clue if that's right or not, but I mean, you can kind of look here and there and make your own adjustment on what you think the car is modeled after. Let me know in the comments down below if you actually know what car this is modeled after. If it is at all, if this is a complete custom build, I really don't know. But it does have that long, sleek design that was in the Gotham TV show. Because really in the show, it was just a basic car that had a lot of like edits put into it. Like it was bulletproof. It had that matte black finish. It could have like a silent mode, which I thought was really cool. So with that in mind, I'm wondering if this is going to be the same type of model. Like if they're going to have a Batmobile that can be silent or actually rev its engine really loud, because it's got the giant engine in the back. So this car is going to get up to pretty high speeds. I also think it's important that they have a regular sized vehicle this time around, because the thing with the original Batman movies, you know, with Joel Schumacher and Tim Burton, was that the car was so long that taking turns was almost impossible. And if you look and you watch back, especially in the 89 movie, when the Batmobile is going down the street, it is a lot of sped up footage because the car can only go so fast. So depending on how high action this movie is, and if there's any like high speed chases or pursuits or something like that, keeping all that in mind, you're probably going to want a car that can handle itself well with turns and driving, especially with a stunt driver behind the wheel. You're also not going to have a wire attached to the side of the car, so when it turns, the car is going to turn to the proper angle you need, because it's just way too long to actually make that turn without any adjustments or help at all. But I definitely think this is a really cool look to this car. So I haven't seen any of the fan reactions to this yet. I know of a few people that have retweeted these pictures on Twitter. They're very happy with what they're seeing, and a few of them are speculating that a lot of the fans are not actually going to like this design, because it does look more just like a souped up car from like Death Race or Death Proof instead of an actual Batmobile. And I know there's a few people out there that for some reason really have a love for the Batman v Superman Ben Affleck Batmobile, which was also a really cool design, but also kept that long design that we had in the original movies, which isn't necessarily practical. This is more of a practical take to the car. I don't know if this means this is going to be more of like the Christopher Nolan series, where if it's a more realistic version of Batman, where it's more realism throughout the entire thing instead of more comic book based. But judging by the look of the Batmobile and the Batsuit itself, it does look like they are going for a more realistic version of Batman like Christopher Nolan did, instead of going with a more comic book friendly route. But hey, what do you guys think? Do you want something that's more of a comic book feel, or do you want more of the realistic version of Batman? But what do you think of the Batmobile? That's the big question here. Do you like this design? Do you not like it? Do you think it's perfect? Do you think it fits the realm really well? Or are you not a fan of it and you wish they had gone with more of the comic book design of a longer vehicle, or maybe something more similar to the Tumbler from the Dark Knight trilogy? Let me know in the comments down below. I want to talk about it. But until we get any more leaks of images, hopefully the next thing we're going to start seeing will be the costumes for the villains, because I know the Riddler's supposed to be in it. We've got Colin Farrell as the Penguin. We really want to see that. But until I can get my hands on any of those images, that is going to be it for this video, guys. Remember, if you like what you saw, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know in the comments down below if you want to see more movie news videos, or if you'd like to see anything else. But until then, and as always, I will see you guys next time.